now CEO of the Hennessy Group, an investment advisor specializing in hedge fund selection. She was also just included on a 100 most powerful women in New York list. Lee Hennessy joining us now on set. Good to see you. Thanks for coming on.
Nice to be here.
Listen, 30 years in the business on Wall Street, in and around Wall Street. What has been the biggest challenge that you faced?
The biggest challenge would be dealing with men.
We're not that bad.
Well, Wall Street is still a male-dominated industry. There are still barely 6% women. In the hedge fund industry.
Which is about the same as it was 10 years ago, from what I understand.
And is about the same that it was when I entered Wall Street about 30 years ago.
So, but has it gotten better at all in some respects over those 30 years?
Oh, I think it's gotten much better, for sure. As the industry has evolved, a lot of women are in running mutual funds. And a lot of women are the CEOs or CFOs at financial institutions that purchase mutual funds and invest in registered investment advisors. So the things are definitely changing. The path is changing, but actually becoming a stockbroker is still not a real popular entry way for women, although I think it's one of the ways to be the most successful.
We have a hedge fund manager, Jamie Zimmerman, coming on of Lightspeed Capital in the next hour. Do you think it's more difficult for women, especially in the hedge fund side or the private equity side, to raise capital? Or does a track record speak for itself? I mean, money. Listen, if there's performance, the money will follow.
I definitely think it's the track record is first, and most investors meet with their hedge fund manager, and then the next step is there has to be a feeling of comfort, of security that the person who's managing their money, whether it's a woman or a man, is the kind of person you want to be in a boat with if the weather got rough.
We just did a study we talked about a study with a columnist, Willie Pesic. He's based in Asia, but it was a study that was done here by the American Association of University Women, talking about the pay gap, how it starts off right out of college and then just grows over time. What can women in finance do to eliminate that pay gap?
Well, one of the things is to become a stockbroker or a hedge fund manager. In both cases, you are paid a specific percent that doesn't vary whether you're a man or a woman.
So you're not subjected to somebody's idea of what your salary should be.
Absolutely.
It's I'm going to make the money.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to be paid for what I make.
Right. You're not dealing with somebody's objective decision of what bonus you should get.
There's other issues out there as well. There's lawsuits are a big deal. I know that your firm, you had an ex-employee, I think, sue you over some pregnancy issues. Discrimination suit or something like this. Now, and this is a firm that, listen, you've done a lot for women in business, and even you're not immune to it. What can companies, what can employers do?
Well, I think you're always subject to people who, see you and decide that, they'd like to hold you up. That happens, it happened to me. But I think you have to be a good judge of character. And sometimes that's difficult. I think that Wall Street kind of breeds an insecurity in women that sometimes causes them to be inappropriately aggressive. And that's unfortunate. You and I are both from the South, and being a lady, whether you're a coal miner's child or you're a debutante's child, is something that we take great pride in. And Wall Street is a join the boys or be left out kind of place.
And you think that has to change? I mean, Susan Antillo is a former Bloomberg worker, wrote a book called Tales from the Boom Boom Room. She still does some work for us occasionally and really talked about that and some of the big Wall Street firms. Do you think, though, that is getting a little bit
Oh, I think it's getting
better?
so much better. And, Brian, I was at the Boom Boom Room lawsuit, was one of the top 10 women at the firm at the time that the lawsuits were initiated. I was, one of the top producers, and originally I was called and said, "Would you like to participate?" And I said, "Why would I want to participate? I'm one of the most successful women at the firm. I love Wall Street." They said, "Would you please just be in the survey because it would help us with the overall, statistics of the survey." And I realized as they asked me the 10 questions that, yes, I had been discriminated against.
But you didn't participate in the lawsuit.
Oh, yes, I did.
You did participate?
Oh, yes, I did.
Okay, I thought you hadn't, but you were polled, and I thought you didn't choose to join the class.
No, what happened is that there were many rounds, and since, I could have won a 7-figure settlement, but you'd have to keep going. So basically what I did was have one interview and took a settlement because...
but you didn't join the class action?
No, I did join the class.
You did? Okay.
I did join the class.
Sorry about that. I got some bad information.
I did join the class, but again, I just went the first round, and I could make 7 figures in a year. Why waste a year in something that, is all lawsuits are upsetting. And, there's always 3 sides of the story, his, hers, and the truth.
What are you doing now? I mean, I don't mean necessarily at the Hennessy Group, because we know what the Hennessy Group does, but what are you doing now to promote or to try to alleviate some of the issues that you and I talked about? What can we do?
Well, I would like to encourage women to become stockbrokers. I think that that's a wonderful training ground. You're basically given a business school education and being paid while you do it. One of the difficulties with being a stockbroker is that you are on commission, and so you basically start every month at zero. As fee-based businesses are growing, it becomes a little bit more comfortable, but I do think in general that one of the big differences between men and women is the ability to be able to start, every month at zero. But having a career...
What do you mean by that, the difference? I mean, it's easier or harder for one or the other?
Well, I think that, there's a security factor that between men and women, that women are more prevalent in healthcare and in teaching. But one of the things I always try to promote is that good selling is really educating an investor to participate in investment that is good for him. And it's not any different than teaching, children their ABCs. It's not something they particularly want to do.
And your point about starting over every month is in some ways a measure of risk. Do you think that women are maybe able to take on or willing to take on as much risk sometimes? If you look at betting or you go to Vegas,
right,
it seems like it's all men around the blackjack table.
Right.
A risky thing.
This is the evolution of women in the marketplace. And as risk-taking becomes more of a everyday experience, and they're role models for other women, but I do think that that's a significant part of the reason that there's still only 6% women.
Can you train people, though, to take risks, women or men, or is it just innate? Because I've been curious about the issue of risk here more and more lately. And you wonder, can you train people to say, go do the things you're talking about, Lee, become a stockbroker. Yeah, you may not get paid next month if you don't make any money. That's a hard thing to do, and especially in a city like New York, which is so expensive, can't go a month without getting paid here.
You can continue with all the great scholars to discuss whether environment or experience or genes affect someone.
Nature versus nurture.
But I think that we all know that girls tend to want to go pick up baby dolls, and boys tend to want to pick up trucks and throw them around, or a football and kick it around. So I would probably tend to be certainly focus on the fact that there's still only 6% women, so you have a 6% opportunity to have the experience or the nature part of the equation.
And we need to get that up. That 6% needs to go up. Lee Hennessy, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. We'll see you again. All right, let us head down to the